Join me now to weigh in, representing Texas's 4th Congressional District, Congressman Pat Fallon. Congressman, thank you for joining me. So, Congressman, I guess I'll first get your reaction to this old video of Dr. Fauci that surfaced. You'd think there'd be a little more outrage or interest in this video. A few news organizations reported on it, but it kind of says a lot when there's kind of a knee-jerk reaction from the so-called medical experts, when they're getting ahead of themselves, when we should actually just pause and look at the information, follow the science and the facts, and let other people also contribute to the conversation.
Well, Stephanie, thanks for having me on. And yes, of course, there's not going to be any criticism of the secular saint of the left, Dr. Tony Fauci. He was dead wrong there. I mean, you want to talk about junk science? My goodness, he's spreading fear-mongering in that clip. That was awful. And you know what we're seeing today, particularly in Florida, they certainly went a different way with COVID than under Governor DeSantis, and respecting freedom and individual liberties and trusting folks with their personal responsibility. Florida's average 7-day case rate, new cases, is down dramatically. In fact, it's 4 times lower than in California, that went the draconian big government way. I think that the figure was 1,470 in Florida and nearly 6,300 new cases in California. So I'm all for science, and I'm all for following the Florida model of freedom.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. It's so important that we discuss the success going on in Florida, because obviously the prescription to COVID-19 and the pandemic here is medical freedom. Let people decide what's best for their health, and if they want to get the vaccine, they should do so. But it seems like it's working in Florida. Yet the mainstream media and a lot of the Democrat politicians, they don't want to acknowledge what's going on there. They didn't want to acknowledge what was going on in Texas. And Dr. Fauci is just completely perplexed. Like, he doesn't understand what's going on, and he doesn't want to even explore that, maybe medical freedom is the solution.
Right, and they don't want, this is like, COVID is like the wind. They're trying to trace the wind and stop it, and you just can't. Look at the vaccination rates in Florida. It's fully vaccinated folks, including children, so the entire population of Florida, 60% are vaccinated. In California, it's very similar at 62%. And yet Florida is having less cases and dramatically less deaths, by the way. And that's something that no one's really talking about, and I want to share it with you, Stephanie, is in Texas. So I've been tracking the hospitalization rates in Texas on a daily basis for well over a year, when I was in the Texas legislature and now in Congress. And what the media doesn't want you to, they never want to report good news, particularly vis-a-vis COVID. So 2.5 months ago, on August 25th, Texas had 13,982 people hospitalized due to COVID. Yesterday, it was 2,717. That is an 80% reduction. 70 days in a row, that number has gone down. And put another way, today, as opposed to 2.5 months ago, we have 5 times less people in hospitals due to COVID. We are succeeding in Texas as well, but they don't want to share good news. They want to tell you the sky's going to fall and COVID's going to kill you.
Yeah, I remember when Biden had promised that he was going to end this pandemic, but that hasn't happened yet. And in fact, actually, there's been more COVID deaths under his presidency. And it's fascinating that CNN finally took off their body count tracker at the bottom of their screen is the day that Biden took office. So definitely they have tried to politicize the virus, which is leaving people feeling pretty uncomfortable, and especially when it comes to the mandates. And so we saw that a court sided with those who were against the mandates, and Biden has instructed businesses to ignore the court order.
I mean,
do we not have a judicial system anymore? I thought we had checks and balances in this country.
Well, heck, Stephanie, I thought we were a co-equal branch of government in the legislature. And when we write and ask reasonable questions and ask for disclosure of information from the Biden White House, we just get ignored. If President Trump had done that to Democratic members of the House and Senate, he would have been excoriated by the press. But Biden does it on a daily basis. And then he also expects whatever he says for the mainstream media to back up his play. And this is, I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous. The Fifth Circuit has said that they want to pause any vaccine mandates, and they want to look at it over the weekend, and yet Biden wants, and incidentally, this isn't a law that's been passed. This is an illegal decree. When he uses OSHA as an enforcement arm, we have seen in the past when these incidences occur with other unrelated matters, OSHA and their directives get overturned, but it takes time. And that's the issue here. We are living in a land of lawlessness currently.
Well, and then the Biden COVID-19 mandate through OSHA, if you will, how would they even enforce that is the question. And so now there's conversation. It's like, well, they can't really, like, they don't have enough manpower to go through and check every business, but they're counting on, quote, whistleblowers. So they're looking for the tattletales in a business organization to rat out their own business where they work, their employer.
Like, you would say to your coworker, turn around, I want to see your tattletale. I mean, this is ridiculous. He's trying to say, like, this is like the Stasi or the KGB. You're looking for informants, like this is North Korea. This is Joe Biden's America. This is why I'd love to share with everyone that I talk to that this elections have consequences, and we've seen grave consequences in the last 10 months. And we're a laughing stock in the international stage. They want increasing control, and they're going to raise our taxes, even though he promised that he wouldn't. We're spending money like drunken sailors, and that's an insult to drunken sailors, quite frankly, because at least they earned their money. And this has to stop. And my goodness, Stephanie, I don't know if we're going to make it to November, because I think there's going to be not a red wave, but a red tsunami come next fall.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Well, Congressman, we appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Stephanie. God bless and have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.